Hi, how are ya? That's what I was trying to say.
Hi, everybody. How are we all doing?
Hi.
Hi.
Great. Doing
You doing
just
well?
well.
Are we live now?
Yeah, well, now we are. Yeah.
Okay.
Next time I take a nude, I'm gonna Photoshop it
Oh, yeah?
No.
just to make it look really weird. Like I'm gonna
Just
warp
try.
it so it's all like a dagger. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like a Chris dagger? Like a flame purge or whatever you want to call it? Like one of those, like...
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Weird. Weird. Nobody wants to see it, for the record. Nobody wants to see that, but...
What
wanna
happened
see
last time we played? For gosh sake.
All right, fine. So last time we played, we need somebody to step forward and remind us what happened last session. Chat, please. Remind us what happened last time we played on Aurorum, Regicide, Season 2, Session 7.
I mean, last I remember was Yondis and Rena going on a double, not a double date, a single
Oh,
date
yes.
to go get Ophios's clothes.
I remember this now.
You're naked?
Remember I snuck away as a snake to the salamander statue
Yes,
and you met me in the cave
Oh yeah.
and I needed my clothes, but I used the hat thing and then it turned into some dwarf and I went to go mess with the other snake guy
a
in
gnome.
there.
It was a gnome,
It was a
yeah.
gnome.
Try to
And
activate
you
your
guys
voice.
went to get my clothes and Rena is infatuated with Yondis.
That's right. I forgot about that.
I didn't forget.
And we're all injured
Nobody
from
forgot.
a battle.
It's actually why we're talking about nudes on this, is because we're hoping to see some. All right. So, yes.
Can't say no to my
everybody's
fans.
Everybody's still very, very injured. You guys have not had the appropriate amount of time to even short rest. Little
I don't know. I'm all right.
Well, Tyler's about to have time for a short rest. You know what I mean? He's actually got time for that. So, Tyler, you got some spells back while they're off getting your clothes.
Do we find them?
Well, so, I mean, we don't need to go roll for clothes, right? It's more of just an opportunity for the two of you to argue.
Yeah. What is that? Like an investigation?
It's URP, and I told you exactly where they were. Essentially,
Yeah,
the marking.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what, Scott? For how long it would take, I would think they should roll an investigation to find the marking on that house, because it's literally just by the cellar.
I mean, the thing is, I suppose time is of the essence with how things have gone down lately. Hi, ma'am. Shut up. Bye. So you guys can roll that investigation. Now, I understand that both of you are looking, but we'll just have one person do like a group check.
I get 3 hit points back.
You can actually spend as many HD as you'd like during a short rest.
I only get 1 back per long rest, though, right?
You heal half of your total HD back in long rest. So if you're level 6, you get 3 back.
Okay, so I would get 2 back. So I would roll 2.
Good.
I'll roll 2. So
Sure.
I'm at 25.
All right, so the two of you are kind of looking around looking for the clothes. I mean, just to roll an investigation to see if either A, things go well, B, things go poorly, or C, things go horribly. Roll.
Those options.
Who's assisting who?
Bad, really bad.
Hey, listen, if somebody wants to hit you guys with like a curse or something like that while you're searching, I'm fine with it. So, I'm just kidding. Give them a
Oh no,
moment.
Tyler! All
Give
your
them a
clothes
moment.
are ripped. You have to be
They're, like,
naked
legit,
now.
As a reminder,
No,
chat,
I
they're-
need all my clothes.
As a reminder, chat, they are legit like half dead right now. So they're like, Rena has a couple of health points. They got 0 short rests. Yondis is okay, I guess.
I'm doing all right.
All right, so roll me that investigation check. Start to see.
Yeah, I'll do
Wait,
it.
who's
Say it.
assisting? Who would give who advantage?
Nobody's having advantage. This is
You know what's your int?
a city that is
0.
dangerous right now. Okay, I
Oh, yeah.
will change music.
What kind of music do we have?
No, Rena's not high. We gave her a lesser restoration potion. But
yeah,
she
I'm
is
not.
still infatuated with love.
She's high on life, brother.
She's high on Yondis's notes.
Hey, Rita, smell my
Notes.
farts.
His notes.
No.
That one string strung in his. I'm high on your notes.
Banjo.
I gotta pick that thing back up.
That
soon.
banjo though.
So no, you're not high anymore. Are you? Yeah, you're coming down off of it, which is gonna be fun soon. It's just we haven't had a lot of time passing game in the past few sessions. So you rolled an investigation that was not supposed to have advantage. I said no advantage because of
What?
XYZ.
Fine.
Don't listen to Tyler. Listen to the Dungeon Master. I have the power here. I am Daddy. Oh, damn it. Would you like to use luck on that? No. So actually, the investigation is going to go pretty well. You guys aren't going to spend too much time. Like I said, Rena literally chased you down to where it was that they kind of stopped everything played out the way it did with those random people she bumped into, just kind of like slaughtering everybody, right? So good kudos with that one, Rena. But as you guys are going along, I don't know if there was any degree of RP that has to happen, because I know you just, saw him with somebody else, and then there was that dude.
And then he killed the dude. And then there was that other dude.
I don't remember if I told you that. I think I did.
You told Rena that.
Okay. Everyone knows I killed that man.
You didn't tell Ophios that.
Oh, we told you that.
You told me about you meeting some guy.
I thought we did tell him, and you were impressed.
But it doesn't matter because Tyler's not here.
Yeah.
It's you and Messy.
Well, it matters later.
Right, that definitely matters. He's not around. It's just Rena and Giannis.
That's right.
Mm.
Can you feel the love tonight?
Sorry.
Tyler, you're not here. Remember, you're.
No, it's just the town that's singing that in Rena's ears.
Town. I was gonna say, who's the bard here?
All the townspeople.
More like
All the townspeople.
Just everyone.
As she walks by her, it's just like, can you feel the love?
I definitely feel it's more like the seagull from like wah, 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 wah,
Wah, wah.
From Little
Yeah.
Mermaid. Oh my god.
Oh god. So, any conversation that happens between the two of you, anything that you wanted to bring up? I know obviously we kind of lost the edge of emotion between the gap of time, but
Yeah, I feel like I would have wanted to say something, but now I can't remember what we were doing. All we were doing was going to look for his
clothing.
stuff
Yeah, that's
and
all.
then go back.
And then you guys are supposed to go meet up with the
Did
other
we-
guy in the other part of town.
Did we have a conversation about the group that you were running with when you met up with us? Have we talked about that already?
Briefly, I think I told you, but I don't know that I told. Actually, no. Wait, now I can't. I think we did. I don't remember though.
When we take our break, we will check the VOD, but I'm pretty sure you did mention it.
No, you definitely did 100%.
I think I
mention it.
did.
You and him had a conversation about it. You barely talked to Tyler about that because Tyler was just like, "I need pants," and you're like, "Yeah, but what about I need pants?" And that
Oh
was
yeah, and then he
pretty
turned into like a short gnome.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, that's right. It was
And you
pretty-
guys wouldn't let him leave.
Yeah, because it was weird. Draw
Yeah.
too much attention.
Yeah, that's the only reason.
100%. That's the only reason.
Now that there's a gnome running around in this city, that's
So enough distractions.
yeah.
getting
So
to the
I
game.
don't think we talk about much. We just find his pants.
So is that really it? Okay. So all that build up for that's fun.
Well, that was mostly us remembering what the hell happened.
Oh, you guys are the worst. So
Well, I was probably
I'm
going
not
to do
there
something,
to
but I have
RP.
no idea
gave
where I
him
was.
an
So
opportunity.
no, you're good. So you guys go out, you find the clothing and whatnot. I imagine there's some degree of exchange between the two of you. I imagine Yondas is really picking up at this point that things are going strangely around him. He had used that spell on the other person, literally as offering to leave his wife and share his house with you and everything. And you're like, okay, I'm
It
just gonna
happens.
kill this guy because you're such a good person.
It
And then
happens
here's
in
Rena
the new man.
also being like strange, somewhat flirtatious, somewhat kind of edgy with you at the moment because that's kind of how things were left off last time. But you
if my
go and-
family were alive, I'd leave them for you.
Oh, that's even more
No,
sad.
we had talked about you meeting his parents. You had mentioned something about meeting his parents.
When did that happen? I don't remember that.
That was
remember
not
that.
even. That was
No,
separate.
I totally remember that.
So reading want to meet my
Mhm.
parents. Crazy.
So you
Oh my
guys
God.
go and get the clothing and whatnot, and you eventually return to Ophios. As a reminder, the person that you did meet up with last time, in case you forgot his name, he had introduced himself, funny enough, as Laszlo, a name that we
Right.
also just encountered on Thursday evening for entirely different reasons. But a human man by the name of Laszlo had introduced himself to you. He was clearly a member of the, or at least previously, if not actively, a member of the Tasian military. You don't really know much more than that. And you know that he's anti-Peredhel by like a lot. So you guys retrieve the pants. I imagine you talk just more or less small talk, maybe even some awkward silences. You go back to Tyler, and this is unfortunately like another 2 hours or so pass in the interim. You guys are hurting and not doing very well. As you're traveling through the town, could you do me a favor and roll me? You did the investigation, yay. Either a perception or an insight. You can choose what you are rolling for you.
Individual.
Oh,
Individually.
yeah.
That was easy. God damn.
So it's not Yondas. It's actually Rena. Rena, you notice that people are kind of like staring at you guys, same as you did beforehand. They're kind of like watching you. But because you happen to notice this, yeah, you notice that people are watching you. You don't quite get a good read off of necessarily what they're thinking or anything, because it's just kind of like shit. You know, you're still kind of in a bit of a daze and everything. But you definitely notice that more people in this town are looking after you than maybe previously had when you were coming through beforehand. You didn't really notice much, but you guys talked about it before, so you're kind of all on the same page with that. Obviously, you can bring yourselves all the way back to the hideout, but I imagine that you're going to be a little discreet with your re-entrance of that place. I'll leave this one in Messy's hands if you want to roll the stealth check for you to do that.
Oh, I'd love to. Thank you.
You're welcome, of course. Beautiful. You guys do a good job stealthing back in. But there's one more detail I really need to go over before we go back there. Rena, I just need you to roll me, just no reason, just a Constitution save. No reason, just
No reason,
no
huh?
reason. Yeah,
No,
just
no reason.
Constitution.
Yeah.
Rena, you're doing drugs again.
Are you
Wait,
saying
we gave
saving
her a lesser restoration.
just
Scott.
a regular
You are
Constitution
correct.
or what?
Lesser restoration ends the effects of the ends the poisoning effect. Just a Constitution save.
Oh, saving. Okay.
For some reason, you're like cutting out for me, Scott.
Not bad. Are you happy with that roll, Rena? If
I
I'm cutting
think
out
so.
for if I'm cutting out for more than just Tyler, give me a heads up. I can
Yeah,
adjust
you are.
that. Okay.
Yeah.
Then I need
I think
to
it's
adjust that.
whenever one of us talks, it like blinks you out.
It's
Yeah.
actually it's an audio setting that I have set up. I will change it.
Wait, I saw an 18 pop. Oh, that was the stealth. And
That
then-
should probably fix that for you guys. Okay.
Ah, yeah, you're good.
Okay.
All right.
I
All right. So, Rena, are you happy with that roll?
think so.
Okay. Cool.
Oh,
Ah.
you suck. Haha.
Wait, I thought we made the
I know. I
use
know,
your
I can't-
daddy's
I
dice.
can't hurt it. But actually, I'm happy with a 15, a roll of a 15. So, Rena, you notice that stuff. You guys go back. You probably give Messy a heads up about it. Yondis a heads up about that. And Yondis, of course, being the careful person he is and incredibly good at being discreet and stealthy out of social situations, is leading you guys very adeptly through this kind of like warehouse district that you get very familiar with, and you end up kind of slipping into the warehouse. Honestly, probably before you even realize you're entering into the warehouse, you realize you're like, wow, that was way faster than I expected it to be. Part of the reason why you didn't quite notice that is because, as I said beforehand, your high had ended. They ended the poisoning effects, so on and so forth. That ended, but your body's also starting to come down off of this drug. And the come down is not exactly the nicest of experiences. Now, you're not going to get the full symptoms because they use lesser restoration, right? So you're not going to get the full nausea, the full queasiness, but you definitely feel a bit off. It's one of those things where you just feel strange. You even feel like, I don't know, the night tonight, it's not particularly cold, but you definitely have a chill all down your spine, and your hands feel a bit colder than they usually do. But despite the fact, are you sweating? Oh, God, you might be coming down with something. I don't know.
Oh, I imagine Rena feeling cold. Tries to cuddle up there with.
I knew that's
Yondis.
where you were going. I was like, as soon as you started saying, I imagine, I was like, oh, what is it?
Trying to snake his way in.
Like,
So-
Yondis, do you have a jacket? I don't know why. I'm just like,
Yeah,
really
just the
cold.
one.
I mean,
I feel
yeah,
like
no, all right. It's
I
fine.
feel like Rena's just gonna punch you in the face and take your jacket.
It's so silly.
You just be like, I said I'm cold.
Douches are correct. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah. So
It was my punching sound effect.
no, it's the double entendre. So my apologies. So you of course are starting to feel these shivers wherever you ask him. Do you have a coat? There's only one. And oh, thanks. And you guys are making your way back down into the tunnel. Now, luckily, when you get down there, Rena, it is very warm, as I keep describing, down in these tunnels. And the closer you get to the
Right.
edge, especially in that one room, it's definitely warmer. But you know what? Even though it's warm, you feel like stuffy. Like no matter, you just feel like, God, you're just so warm right now, because it's just so much heat is inside here. But at the same time, you still have that like strange kind of chill down your spine. You almost feel like you're shivering, despite the fact that you are. God, it's so hot. It's like your hands no longer feel cold. They literally feel like they're swollen sausages. They look normal, but I don't know. It's just very uncomfortable. I don't know how you handle that.
I have no idea. It's like being sick. So
Have you ever had
it's not really much it's not really much you can do. Just kind of have to deal with it.
No. So you're just kind of like making your way along. So imagine your character is kind of like slumping or moving a little bit less graceful.
Slower.
Yeah. It's kind of like Yondis, roll me a I suppose perception or insight with advantage to notice this. This is what happens. No, you're stuck with it. You're stuck with it. You press you know. What is it? Preemptive dicelation. So roll with advantage.
Okay, okay.
Perception or insight?
I was gonna let you have it, but all right.
Oh, it's still a low roll.
Let's just go with the 1.
Honestly, Yondis cares so much about Rena that he doesn't even worry enough about her to look back. He just keeps walking on. Rena, he's like moving away from you kind of quickly. It's like he's like slumping behind and like look up. He's like next to you, a little bit ahead of you, like 8 feet ahead of you. He's kind of like 20 feet ahead of you. Do you say anything? Or do you let him just keep?
It'd be like, Yondis, can you slow down a little bit? It's like, bye.
Rena, truth is, you're being kind of weird. I think I just need to be away from you for a minute. So I'm just gonna go ahead. You take your time though, if you need to.
Weird.
Yeah.
I mean, weird.
Well, you're like really sweaty, and you keep asking me for stuff. You know, I've known people like that in my life, and I just, you know.
I mean,
Yondis has known love before?
But he's a noble.
It's more that I think that those drugs are just coming to bite me in the ass. I'm really not feeling well, so sorry.
I don't know. Okay, if you say so, but I'm just gonna let you do this on your own. I say as I'm 20 feet ahead now.
I'll
And
just be like,
completely
"Oh,
fine
okay,
because
if
Ophios
that's
gave
what
you
you
a
want."
potion that healed you from all poison effects.
Thanks, Ophios.
Oh man.
Now I have no compassion.
Like you're like, hey buddy, my friend I've traveled with for months, and we fought so hard to like not die next to each other.
Yeah, think of a cold or some shit.
You're
You're
like
gonna just
sweating
like.
and weird and off kilter.
She's having a weird day. I'm just gonna.
You might have like that corona. Oh, corona.
No.
Oh, this is good. Bye.
Does that exist in this universe?
Corona? No.
Or the
it's
coronavirus,
disgusting.
either one.
Which
Yeah.
corona?
It might for your character, just because I don't know, dude. Come on. I mean, something's gonna get Trump carded in. So, and it's no joke.
Oh,
So-
they wouldn't do that. Chat wouldn't do that to Yondis.
I don't know,
No,
man.
no. They leave him alone, I think.
He just walks off. So anyways,
Anakin, you're breaking my heart.
So he just continued moving forward. Eventually, you meet up with Ophios. You hand over the clothes, whatever it is. I imagine no important words are said there, but and they meet agree. But eventually, you see Rena coming in almost like a minute behind. You know, like not seeing her walk in side by side with him doesn't trigger anything, just because they don't always have to be at each other's hip. But seeing her come in like a minute later, you see almost immediately Snake Boy with your snaky kind of eyes that she is off. She is definitely off. Like she is sweating. She's kind of like comes into the room. She's like out of breath. Like Rena, would your character peel layers? Like as she's
Probably. Like if she
was
was that hot, yeah, she's not. She's gonna be like, fuck it, I don't give a shit. You know, just start peeling.
would you like leave it like kind of just on the ground? Just like moving. I imagine your character's not walking in naked. You know what I mean? But
I mean, no, I wouldn't want to leave it.
Yeah,
No,
she's kinda like-
she'd
like-
probably just kind of like shove it in the pack or something.
Yeah, it's like stuff like half shoved inside the pack, half hanging
Right.
out, sloppily walking in. This is not like you've ever seen Rena before. Okay.
Yes. What's wrongs?
Why doesn't he have to roll perception?
Because he's better than you?
Not oblivious.
It's not my fault. I rolled a 7, 8, 9 with a 6 modifier.
Sure.
She's just like kind of panting, like, I don't know. I think I'm like sick or something. She's like doubled over.
Ophios is gonna walk over and just kind of get a closer look with like how her skin appearance looks around her hands and where like if she feels cold to the touch or if she's warm to the touch or what it is. Is that a medical
Medical,
like?
yep.
Yep. whopping 2.
Honestly, you're not entirely sure at all what's going on. She seems perfectly fine, except for the sweating. Her skin texture, her skin color seems normal. She's just like sweating and clearly cold, but everything else seems to be fine. If she has any like blemishes that are starting to appear on the face, if there's any placid or like pale kind of look to her, you don't notice it at all. Maybe it's the darkness, maybe whatever it is, but you just don't pick it up.
So all Ophios will kind of do is just kind of be like, here, have some water and sit down.
She'll just take it and do as he says.
And he'll just kind of speak to Yondis and Rena both generally and being like, I think we need some rests.
Yeah, Yondis is already like over in the corner by himself, kind of chilling, straight vibing.
Straight by yourself? You playing your banjo at all?
Probably not. Last time I did that, I had to kill someone.
I mean, I'm sure you don't think anything's wrong with the banjo yet.
So perhaps we should retire to sleeps. It's nighttime, right?
It is.
Yeah.
So you guys finally find yourselves to rest tonight, which is a wonderful thing for two of you. Because the two of you are able to rest so well. I mean, you're finally allowing yourself to heal up. You get all your health points back, half of your expended hit dice back, and so on and so forth. And no, honestly, you imagine it's just when you wake up in the morning, you're gonna be sore, you're gonna be achy, all the hits that you took, all the stress of all that. It's not gonna be like you guys recover well. It's a good day of sleep. It's not like perfectly restful sleep, you know. For one of you, it's not so nice. I mean, it's very uncomfortably warm in here. There's a tossing and turning. Again, I don't think that your character would be anything uncouth, but I know that most people, when they're like super overheating, once again, it's like kick off your pants sort of a thing. You know, grab the blanket, but then, is there a thinner blanket than this? And this room's too hot with all these people. I gotta go and
leave the room.
You almost get a little delirious. As the symptoms get worse and worse for you, Rena, I need you to do me a favor. I need you to roll a Constitution save. I need the two of them to roll Perception with disadvantage.
I was gonna ask you to, Scott, if Ophios would be willing, like, able to get up earlier, given that he had already taken that short rest.
I mean, not really, because even if you take a nap, you still need to fucking sleep. You know.
Okay. All right. Perception disadvantage.
Chat is giving you advice there, Rita.
I know. I'll have some water.
No.
Don't worry, I have some.
They're saying use luck.
Oh.
With a 19?
Well, I'm one away. Like, yeah.
Yeah. 22.
And like Tyler always says, now you know how much luck you actually have, which now you have 0 left. So beautiful. And now chat knows whether or not they want to trigger luck for you. They'll watch you suffer.
And then it also was the fact that 15 clearly failed last time.
True enough. And chat, remember, if Messi's about to make an important roll, don't add luck because he's a terrible person. I'm sorry, I meant you on this. But the other two.
Common mistake, yeah.
Because Ophios is not the bad guy here. So moving on. Rena, honestly, it's one of those things where, like I said before, I need a little delirious, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But eventually you just kind of like make your way out of this room and kind of meander into the other rooms and whatnot. Roll me a d6.
Ooh, this could be an infection from that massive stab wound.
What is
Stop
it?
giving him ideas.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
How do you do it again? I'm sorry. I ask this every time.
Slash R, or on the left-hand side of the screen.
Slash R.
Slash
space.
R1d6.
Yep. Ooh, the mini feed on slobs does not show daddies being expended. I'll have to learn if there's a way to fix that.
Good 3. Middle road.
So anyways, so with your 3 there, so Rena, what happens is you end up like kind of meandering. So it was a 1, 2, 3 because there's 3 rooms back here. You end up meandering your way into that storage room, where eventually, kind of like maybe on like underneath the table or whatever it is, you just kind of like find yourself alone in this room on like the cold stone, like kind of separated around away from them as much as you possibly can be to finally like allow that to take some of the heat away. You guys don't notice this when it happens, but luckily she doesn't do anything to harm herself. Rena, as a matter of fact, in the morning when you wake up, you ache. Your stomach hurts a little bit, your head feels swooning and whatnot, but it definitely feels like I don't know if you've had a fever before, right, Rena? You've actually gone
Yes.
the flu or whatever before, even with 24-hour bug. You know, sometimes your fever can peak like
It's a few weeks
102.
ago.
Oh, there you go. I'm sorry. 102, 103, somewhere where your fever peaks like that, and then all of a sudden in the middle of the night your fever breaks, and the next day you don't feel good, but oh my God, being hurt feels good. You know, it's like it's past. That's kind of like where you are right now as the fever goes over. I need you to make me one more saving throw. This is just a wisdom save, and then it's all over. Maybe.
Then you're dead.
Are you happy with your 12, or do you want to add any more to that?
I can't.
Are you sure? You can always try. Even if you think there's none, you can always click it to see.
Oh.
That's true. Hey,
What?
10.
Somebody added one.
So, anyways, yeah.
Now
So,
it's gonna get.
so yeah, Rena, you wake up the next day, like I said, you feel like crap, but like you're happy to feel this condition that you do. You know you're clearly better than you were beforehand. When you guys wake up, most likely Ophios, he usually wakes up first, you would probably notice, like, wait, where's Rena? And you get out and quickly and look around, and you would see that she's in that room, and probably your entrance of the room would be what awakens her. Go ahead, Tyler, you're going to say something.
I was gonna say he would actually, noticing Rena was gone, he'd be like, "Where's that blasted snake's?" Concerned. He not necessarily expecting it because he had talked to him recently, but he knows he doesn't like that those two are here. So he would kind of check to see where he was, if he was still in that room sleeping or not.
Gotcha. So, when you, my apologies.
So he would check that first before going exploring.
Like I said, like it's not like you guys slept in super late by any stretch. I'm not going to force that on you, right? You have characters are fairly routine, and even getting beat up doesn't mean that your routine's going to be completely broken. But you can imagine he probably leaves very early, and so maybe you overslept that. He's not around. But you pick it up pretty quickly that he's just not there, and you find Rena pretty quickly. So there's no like big alarms going off beyond the initial.
Aside from that, before you would leave, if Giannis wasn't awake, he'd kind of poke him a little bit before he headed out. Not necessarily tell him he needs to get up, just waking him up and being like, letting him know he's heading out and he's gonna try and find where Rena is. So, however Yondis wants to respond to that, Ophios would be like, "Yondis, I'm heading out. Rena's not here. I'll be back with hers."
He just bobbles his head and like waves you.
Okay. And then he'll kind of head out. He would actually first check where the salamander statue is.
Okay, so you first swing in there very quickly. You don't see her. You know what I mean? Maybe glance around. Spend like 15 seconds in that room. You don't find her. You go into
I don't see the other snake guy in there either.
No, he's probably
Okay.
upstairs working already. And when you pop out into the middle room, you see Rena on the floor, and like literally you're walking in. Like I said, Rena, you start waking up. You feel as you feel. So it's up to you guys if you want to RP through this moment.
Yeah. Rena's, how you get here? Did you walks in your sleeps?
Kind of groggy. She's just gonna be like, "No, I don't know. I couldn't sleep in there. It's too hot down here. But somehow I feel better today. Just like achy."
Would I be able to roll a medicine check again to kind of figure out what it is?
Yeah, go ahead. You can actually be like, stay still. Let me check you. And you're welcome to do that. Sure.
Let me check your wounds. He's actually suspecting that she has some sort of poison or infection from the stab wound that went through her abdomen.
Of course, yeah. She actually did take a pretty grievous wound that went there. And when you go around, you checking out, you do notice there is a bit of reddening in the area and a little bit of pus. You honestly do think that there is an infection that her body is fighting against. However, you can also tell by the other parts of her and whatnot, I mean, this infection is starting up, but it definitely hasn't settled into her yet. You think that maybe this is a fight that, unless properly handled soon, she might have to go through that as well. The symptoms that you're kind of seeing on her look as though she's probably been fighting an infection for a while, or maybe it was something else. I mean, you don't really know much about these kind of drugs or anything like that, but you are familiar with poison. It is likely that her body was just fighting that off too. But at its compromised state that she currently is, she's probably about to do another one.
This doesn't look good. We needs better medical attentions. Your friends, Laszlo,
Laszlo.
Long Locks, Lazy Mans, whatever his name is. You merely mentions him and his helps. Does he have medicines? People that can help.
Well, he is military, so I'd assume that he probably does have somebody, or at least something. That might still be a good idea.
We needs to get you there soon. This doesn't look good.
All right, let's go. And then she'll try to like get up, but maybe stumble. a bit.
Ophios would help her. And if you had like taken clothes off or stuff like that, I would kind of tell you to put them on.
Mhm.
And he might actually go ahead and get a bandage and do whatever. I imagine.
Honestly, with a 19,
cover it up.
with a 19 medicine check, you would probably just kind of like rifle through your bag, unless you're going to use like potions or whatever it is that you think might help. You rifle through your bag for other things you guys have collected along the way, and just kind of like put salves or whatever there that you guys already have with you, just to help start with the aiding of the fighting of infection or whatever that's there, right? And wrap it up like you said. But like we should probably go see someone that understands these things better than we do, and perhaps military personnel, like you're saying, is a good idea. So you take care of all of that, Rena. You're able to get up and move, and like I said, your joints and everything ache as you're finally feeling. But like, oh god, you're gonna have to be Ginger. You honestly, you can put on your armor the way you usually do. It's gonna be very uncomfortable for you to move and walk while you are wearing that armor, if you choose to wear it. And unfortunately, you do actually have one level of fatigue when you wake up in the morning. Everything else is fine, and if you don't put on armor, you just have to suffer with one fatigue. That armor is going to be impeding in some way. Okay,
Ophios would mention just putting on clothes and not necessarily armor. The other thing I was going to ask is, does Rena recover her hit points or no?
Oh, yeah. She actually does recover her hit points.
Okay.
Fully. But I'm not going to do anything like take away her HD or anything like that. She's still a hero, and this wasn't actually like a necromantic spell or something. So
okay,
she's good there. Yeah.
So that would kind of be the focus, and basically Ophios would kind of help you into the center room, and then would kind of go to fetch Yondis so that we can head out.
Would you, Rena, put on your armor for the extra protection, or are you gonna like leave it inside your bag of holding or whatever, or your haversack, and just kind of like move on?
I guess I'll just. What do I have? I have the bag of holding, or you have the haversack, right?
We should actually probably more solidify this. The haversack is with who, and the bag of holding is with who? I believe
haversack is on Ophios.
Yeah, and I have the bag of holding.
The bag of holding.
Correct, which is like a burlap sack, like when Rena, I think, because you're close to the same age as me. When you were a kid, you probably had a burlap sack you went out with on trick or treat rather than like a plastic bucket.
Yeah, there were like those like sacks. I know what you're talking about.
Pillowcases. We use pillowcases.
A pillowcase. Yeah, whatever.
Pillowcases too, because burlap sacks.
Or tote.
If you use them too much, like back in the day, you'd fill that bag with candy. Nowadays,
They wear out.
I mean, these Zoomers, they get tired too quickly.
Well, not only that, they like the rules of trick or treating have changed. Like it ends at a certain time. Back when we were kids, it was like we could go until like 3 o'clock in the morning and
trespass on properties. What? Oh,
yeah.
Go to haunted houses where a scary clown lives.
Yeah, it was one of those things that you were allowed to trick or treat, and so you started seeing eggs get thrown, and then it was like, okay, well now it's time to go home. You know.
Yeah.
The bad kids are
Throws
out.
eggs anymore.
Oh well, anymore? No, but remember, I'm 34.
Yeah,
and I'm 31.
I mean, you go back 20 years, you know, that's when Hocus Pocus came out. You know? TPing was still a thing. So
definitely. My question was, does the bag of holding and the haversack work the same in terms of like you just think of what you're trying to do?
The haversack works that way.
Yeah, bag of holding kind of rummage through it and you find what you want, kind of like if you were sticking your hand inside your wife's purse. But the bag of the haversack is like you stick your hand in there and it's like her sticking her hand in her purse. You know what I mean? It's magic.
Mm-hmm. So then I'd probably ask Ophios if I could put it in the haversack, so it'd be easier to grab in case we need
that'd be fine. Yeah, he'd probably switch you bags, given your current condition, so that you're carrying a lighter bag.
Oh, what
fair.
a gent.
Giannis could never. I'm just kidding.
No, literally, he's seen Rena take a bunch of damage before, and he's never seen her in this condition, so he's legitimately concerned.
What's wrong?
She's just a fleshlight. I gotcha. So anyways, you guys, of course, do the switch up, and I'm glad that we're solidifying this. We can solidify what's in the bags another time. It doesn't really matter at this moment. You get yourselves ready. Rena, you're wearing the clothes, which is actually a good thing that you're doing that at this moment because you're hurting. So you do have that 1 tier of exhaustion. As a reminder, this doesn't really matter at the moment, but you do have a disadvantage in ability checks, which does technically mean like skill checks and stuff like that.
I
okay?
know. I just got out of it.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. We had
It's
close
all right.
before, but yeah,
It's fine.
So anyways, you guys are making your way downtown, walking fast.
Yeah, you know
Well-
what to do.
Fast.
Well,
You
so we would walk into that center room where all the rooms are connected, and Ophios would walk in to get Yondis and just wake Yondis up and just be like, Yondis, we need to move soon.
Yeah, so
Nows.
when you walk back into the room, Yondis is like only half changed out of his sleeping wear, and he's kind of just like really going really slow, packing his stuff, like obviously thinking about something else. And he's not even gonna. The first time you say his name, he doesn't even look up. He's just still putting his stuff away.
Yondis, we needs to go.
Huh?
Rena's not wells.
What do you mean?
Needs to find Laszlo's.
What do you mean not? What? She's still sweaty?
No, the wounds are infected. There's
Fuck. And you-
without proper medical attentions, she's going to be in a rough ways. We needs to go.
Well, why would we go to Laszlo first then? Wouldn't we want to go there after a doctor?
Military doctors probably know these things best.
Military doctors heal you in battle, and then afterwards they send you off to a real doctor. You should probably find her someone if it's not killing her right away.
That's the source we have now, but let's go. Obviously, you're distracted, but we need to go.
But on the way, we should maybe see if there's a real doctor.
In this town, do I need to roll something to be like, probably not one here?
I mean, you don't even know to roll. He's being hopeful, but
Yeah.
Rena, it's very sweet. I mean, honestly, do you hear how he's arguing for you? We're gonna go all the way
Wow.
there. I
A
know.
change of heart.
Yeah, seriously, he wants to go all the way there looking for a doctor. He wants to find a real doctor for his girl now, right? Somebody that can properly take care of you. That is walking crap.
Poor Rena.
Rena has to roll a perception because I left her out in the
Is that what
hallway.
you think?
she's like
Go
3
into
doors
the
away.
bedroom.
She's wicked far.
Oh, yeah.
She needs to roll perception.
Okay. Well, I have disadvantage, so.
Yep.
You heard every word to the minute.
Oh.
You heard some mumbling of them arguing. You just assume it's him being sweet, but you don't know what's being said. But the two of them, they always argue. But
He didn't really mean he wanted to be away from me. It's
course.
just, he was tired.
yeah, he's just
Fine.
tired. Yeah.
He was cranky.
He's a good guy, really. He's just
Honestly, I was
misunderstood
sweating too
sometimes.
much.
He didn't. I was being weird. It is weird. I'm sorry.
I'm so weird. He's so dreamy though. So anyways, God, I feel like this is a 90s teen drama.
It's okay.
So-
I'm used to rejection.
Oh.
Wait, what?
Oh. That's sad. But you finally got
I didn't
cryptic
hear
in
that.
the end, so
Yeah,
it's
just-
okay.
Yeah,
That's the
true.
ring scares people away, Rena. Is that what's going on?
She's like, you
No.
don't understand. I actually roofied him, and then I woke up
You don't
changed
understand.
in a basement.
Woke
Don't
up in
tell him
Vegas and it
this.
was too late.
Don't out me.
Anyway,
How could you out me like that?
Ophios is gonna probably come out of the quarters earlier and kind of start heading up towards the tunnel. After he tells Yondis, I'm gonna heads out to scope ahead and clears the room so we can get out without being seen.
And you guys can go, and again, you don't really have to worry too much when you go out into the front area of the room and all that stuff. The initial upstairs.
The entrance?
The entrance of the
Yeah,
warehouse.
that's in the office. It's in the
Yeah.
warehouse, but it's the office in the warehouse.
Correct. Like you don't have to worry about anything. Again, like you guys are so practiced in this now that like you just time it well. You don't have to make any rules, and eventually able to leave the warehouse area.
We go to our horses. We put Rena on the horses, and Rena's on a
On
horse.
all the horses.
No, we
Yeah,
lay
she
her
lays
across the
across them.
horses, and we lead them in the direction as Rena tells us where to go.
And so, Rena, of course, you are leading them, as we had said beforehand. You guys are in the warehouse district, and I said that he was over in... what district did I say he was staying in? The mercantile area. Actually, he was staying specifically inside the Orpheum. The empty Orpheum, that's right. So, you guys are going to make your way over there. Now, Are you just heading straight there? I imagine is the case because you're on the horses, being protected arena, kind of get her there as quick as possible.
Yep.
Okay.
That's Ophios' plan.
Once again, perception or insight, everybody's choice. What you want to do?
All individually again.
Yeah. This is there's so much corn. I just don't know if it's kind of annoying because I'm like, yeah.
Bro, I thought you said corn.
No.
Ugh.
Corn's a Monday thing.
This
Oh,
disadvantage.
great.
Oh, that's the wrong one.
Oh,
Fuck.
she fall in love. No.
Damn it.
So Ophios, it's actually you that really sees how messy. The problem is Rena is kind of like staring off and being, again, she's still being weird. It's kind of like, it's kind of staring off. And you just, the reason why you don't really see anything is because, like, honestly, she's behaving weirdly and she catches your attention. So imagine, instead of like focusing out there, you're like looking from time to time at her, and Rena, he can't keep his eyes on her.
Well,
Oh my
and
god,
also
he can't
Yandis,
stop looking at me.
I imagine this
cringing.
for Messi is he was already deep in thought thinking about other stuff this morning, so I think he was distracted as is.
But Ophios, what you notice is that there are still people watching you, as we've discussed beforehand. Yeah, you, I think the one that originally noticed it. But
Yeah.
you actually notice something about these people. Some of them are looking at you, and they have that same kind of look in the eyes beforehand, like as they recognize Rena and you guys now being with her. Like that, is there a bounty on her head? Is there money that can be had from this? Others have a look in the eye, and it's one of those as they look by and they see that she survived the fight that you imagine a lot of people know about by now. They're kind of giving that look, like check in, like, is that her? Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on.
Ophios noticing that and having encountered that fight, and based on what that guy said when they interrogated him, will literally look at them in an intimidating way, like, don't even come near us.
The other ones you're talking about?
The people that are looking at us, because he has the insight
Anyone?
from anyone.
Even the ones that are being like, yeah, right on.
No, mostly the ones that are like,
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, you
that
can roll
look,
check,
yeah.
Yeah. Normal. Honestly, you give like, it's one of those things where I imagine the first couple of times you come
wanna
across
look
it,
at?
you make a fucking point. It's literally the first person that you see like looking at Rena and kind of like whispering over at the other one, and you think it's happening. I imagine you straight approach them, and not in a very nice way, and resolve it quickly without raising too much concern. You know,
Walks over, you want to go? What are you looking at?
And so your character handles it very quickly, very thoroughly, pretty early on, and tosses glares kind of like later on in the effect. And people back down and don't interrupt at all whatsoever. Great rolls, Tyler. Now you guys keep making your way over to the Orpheum downtown. I know you guys were looking to walk fast, faces passing. God damn it.
And we're going down.
God, this sucks. So
You're the one who keeps doing it, dummy.
it's stuck in my head. I don't wanna go.
Just quit it.
I can't. So it's like poison. So you guys, when you get to the Orpheum, we had mentioned before that you start boarded up. What's your approach to the Orpheum?
Ophios will just kind of stand there and look around.
I mean, will I realize that we're there?
Because Ophios doesn't know what this person looks like. He never saw him. He's just looking around, and he'd probably, if he doesn't see anything, I'll kind of look to Renas to be like, is this where he sits?
He might be that guy. I point to the wrong guy.
He said the Orpheum, and I know.
Correct.
So I assume that this is where it's at, or what?
Correct. But it's all boarded up, as we discussed beforehand.
She'll just nod and say, probably have to find a back entrance or something.
And I mean, as you're saying that, he's just gonna. You said this is it. Ophios is literally gonna just start knocking on the wood with the hilt of his blade.
See, I think we need to find a back entrance.
Knocks on the front door.
I forced my way through the front. Like, boom, boom,
No, it
boom.
was literally before she said the back entrance thing. It was instantly this is where he said he was, and he just immediately knocked.
I like trailed off while he's like knocking. I'm like, maybe we should find a back entrance. Okay.
Can I use stealth to see if I were to hide a secret entrance? Where would I put it?
No. So you go knocking at the door, and when you knock at the door, it's one of those things where like a couple moments pass, and then Yondis, I'll let your perceptions continue here. Maybe you're even thinking like, oh, maybe I should look around, and then you hear like a little bit of shuffling behind like the wall that you guys are standing behind the door that you're standing there. Clearly, like it's one of those things where I hear a little shuffle and a little creaking of boards. This place isn't very well maintained, as we talked about a bunch of times. So you think somebody's trying to silently step their way towards the door, but you clearly pick it up.
He's just gonna loudly announce, "We're friends of Laszlo." And just listen.
So you say friends of Laszlo, and when you say that, there's like a moment, like a pause, and then finally the person responds saying, "Who's out there? Give me a name."
Ophios
Obviously-
would just kind of lean towards wherever there was a crack between the boards and just say, Renus the Destroyers.
The destroy.
Give me a minute. And you actually hear, not silent, but boot steps walking away. And then you hear a few boot steps walking forward.
Supposed to have
a
an
minute
appointment?
later. And then the door actually opens up. You hear the creaking of boards as they're clearly like ripping like nails off of like whatever it is that's kind of pinning this thing shut. And then the door swings open slowly with a bit of like a grind against the floorboards beneath. And you actually see standing there, I mean, the light as it is opened inside, you see there's a few shapes inside there, but specifically the one that's standing in the forefront, walking to the doorway itself, is in fact Laszlo. Now, I have to re-describe this person because I imagine you guys kind of forget.
Yes, please.
like
Well,
tall,
and Ophios has
blonde,
never seen him, and he's probably the one
Human.
right by the door.
good looking.
Marina's like, I remember the competition.
I know him.
So he is, as we said before, a human, late 20s, so younger than Tyler. He is like an athletic build. He's clean shaven, with long dark blonde hair, brown eyes. You know what I mean? It's kind of like he's
gorgeous.
He's a good looking guy. You know what I mean? And so,
Does he look like he's an actual good warrior in Ophios' eyes?
I mean, you see that clearly he wears his armor comfortably. It's definitely worn armor. You know what I mean? It's definitely fitted armor, not just like, hey, you bought a suit off the rack. It's like you had it custom made and tailored to you, sort of a scenario. You know what I mean? So you can definitely tell that this was made for him, and his sword sits comfortably at his side. He takes a step forward, as I said, and you guys finally all see him.
Is he? Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna ask: is he like? Are his soldiers like malnourished, or are they like beefy?
Beefy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And as he steps forward, he says, "Starting to wonder if you were going to make it or not. Come on in."
Does he say that to Ophios? He
Says
hasn't seen Ophios before.
To the three of you.
Oh. Yes, Rena's told me about you. And he'll actually cough to realize he's kind of lisping again, and he's going to get back into his normal voice and be like, Rena's needs medical attentions.
He looks over at her. Serena, you notice him look up at you. I don't know if you gesture or...
I was being like, it's me again.
The abdominal wounds
Hi.
infected.
He nods and
And-
says, oh,
And based on what she tells me about you, well, what little I know is about you, you're the only one in this town that maybe we can trust.
he nods and says, no, let's not waste any time. He looks to the two of the guys at his side and says, you know her, go get her. And they come over and they actually go over to the horse, unless you guys try to interrupt or anything. These are decently built person, certainly better built than Yondis. No, he's small and cute. And so they go and they try to gingerly help her off of the horse, and honestly climb off the horse, just sitting on the horse as the horse is moving, all hurts. So I imagine your character's wincing, but she's not exactly the person that, just winces and whatnot as she feels it. They help her down. Rena, would you allow them to kind of help you walk in there, shoulder arm over shoulder, or were you too proud and walk on your own?
She'd probably try to push them off and try to walk
No.
on her own.
No, make
To try-
make Yondis jealous. Make Yondis jealous.
He won't be though.
It's actually fine. So you push them off, and they're not going to do it. And it's one of those things where anybody who's really paying attention would notice that you see an appreciative look on Laszlo's face. So you know that he's he clearly cares. Like he's one of those. Okay, like this is not. Like he's heard stories and whatnot. He's kind of seen you into a bit, but now he's like, no, this is somebody who takes a hit and keeps on. No, I'm not giving up just because I'm hurt. And so you walk your way in. When finally you guys make your way in the door, he doesn't even gesture to aid you or anything like that. It doesn't lend any offers. You guys are walking through.
I was gonna say Ophios would say, "Is there a place for the horses?"
He says, more than enough room, and steps out of the way for the horses to make their way into the front door.
Okay. He's Ophios is more or less asking if there's a place where they're gonna have food and be taken care of.
You got a stable in there?
So Ophios will kind of lead the horses in if Messi or Yondis you want to go do something, but that's what Ophios is gonna do.
Honestly, he'll just have his people take care of the horses or whatever, so you don't have to worry about it. You guys kind of stick together. It's up to you. So when you guys first walk through this double entrance, you can see this is like, if you've ever been to any theater ever, which I'm sure all of you have, and I don't mean movie theater, Zoomer. I mean the like an actual theater. The front, there's the will call area in the front where you're gonna purchase your tickets or whatever, and it kind of like opens up into a large foyer immediately behind that. So when you go into that large foyer immediately behind it, you can actually see all of those soldiers that you saw beforehand, Rena, are standing there, kind of like weapons at the ready, because they kind of like grouped up when they heard knocking at the door and everybody was there. But as you know, the weapons are at the ready, but not like to fight, just like at their side, because obviously they heard the conversation. Whenever he comes in, the door shuts and kind of seals up. You see people just like looking about and seeing who you are. You can finally see their total number. So as I said beforehand, there was him, and I think I described before that he had 5 with him. You can actually see in total he has 7 people with him here. So including him, that's 8. That are all together. But once again, you guys kind of like coming in and settle in or whatever, they start to filter off and go their own direction. Eventually, like when you walk through the kind of like this will call and big foyer area that has like old beat up walls and stuff like that, just things aren't maintained at all. And you can imagine there's some target practice and that painting would be out. God her knows, kind of stuff between them inside here. He leads you guys through where the doors would be that actually leads to the actual auditorium itself and where the stage would be and the seats that lead down there. Down in this area here, there's nobody else sitting in all these seats. So there's actually a big empty theater. So as your foots are falling, you hear the echo of footfalls. As people are kind of like talking off to the side, you can hear conversation better than you should be able to, because like how well the acoustics are designed inside here, kind of far off. But there's just like small talk amongst them. Now when I say there's no other people in the seats. But down on the stage, you actually do see somebody is sitting there. There's a few different seats and whatnot that are on the stage, and you imagine not for giving performances, but probably because that's actually a decent spot for people to have conversations that others might be able to overhear, which is not necessarily a bad thing when you're trying to talk to your soldiers and not have to repeat yourself, whatever. And there's somebody sitting in one of those seats. She actually looks kind of familiar to you. You met her once before.
Looks familiar to which person?
I believe all of you. Honestly, I don't remember.
Is it the Raven Lady?
Yes, it is Nightingale.
Nightingale?
Yeah.
Oh.
Can you reach out?
Scott, please turn up your volume. You're quiet. Okay, yeah, sure. I can always make myself louder. Hey-oh. Louder, Scott. Wow.
If Ophios noticed right away, he would kind of mumble to himself, "Nightingale, what's she's here's force?"
You said just to yourself, not to anybody else?
Yeah, like under his breath.
Okay, sure. And nobody responds or says anything. Just said to yourself. And so when you guys finally make your way down stage to the do we kind of walk up and see her, you can actually say, "I'd introduce the 3 of you to her, but I believe you already know Nightingale."
Yes. It's actually really funny for Ophios in the fact that he's like, he doesn't know whether to do his like more natural voice or his trained voice that he did over the last months, because Nightingale knows him in the other sense.
And
But
as a reminder, Nightingale is blind. So
yeah,
things like your voice are going to be bigger cues for her than a typical person.
yes. So he kind of just subtly is like talking normal. "Nightingales, nice to see you again."
So you fall kind of like in the middle between your current voice and the old one? Is that what
Yeah, because he's trying to figure it out.
Cool. She actually stands up from where she's sitting, and she says, "Nice to see you 3 again.
Can't see.
It's funny. I'm going to get messy.
That I feel
knew
like
he was
no,
gonna say
no,
it. I was
knew.
like,
I was wondering if Yondis
look at
would
his
say
face.
that.
Yeah. She can't see.
Jesus.
I knew it.
So anyways, she muted. Yeah. Unfortunately, Chappa only allows for one counter, and we know what counter that is, the dutiful one. So you she actually she says, it's nice to see the three of you as well, and
Which Ophios might be a little bit surprised because he's taken aback by the fact that his voice is like not exactly the same. But yeah.
Okay. So yeah. So I mean, you imagine it's been months. Maybe she doesn't remember as keenly as he was concerned about. Ophios just a paranoid person. Either way, she continues saying, "It's funny that our paths should meet again, but here we are. I feel like the five of us need to have a conversation, though."
Weren't you going souths? He'd kind of, it's kind of quiet. He's not actually questioning her, but she can definitely hear it. He's kind of like thinking in his head of what she had said last about helping escort her south, and this is definitely east and not south. So he's confused.
Last time you saw her, it was in Cursevault. Don't forget. And she said, it was in Talion.
It is Talion, and she said she was going south. So it's been a long time,
correct.
But
she said, I did head south. I head south for some time. I actually found myself into Ursina, which is where I intended to go. But unfortunately, you did not come to Ursina, and so we couldn't continue our talks there. And then my travels took me away from Ursina for other things I needed to discover. I had to come to Momley to see things myself. And I've discovered quite a few things here. Now, if I'm correct, if the birds are speaking well enough, Ursina no longer is as it was, and the three of you have come here to escape its downfall.
not exactly, but our original intentions were interrupted.
What are your intentions here? When she says this, you can see Laszlo, crosses his arms and kind of does that, like lean back on his the heel of his back foot.
Ophios would merely mention, what was the name of the town before this? Can you put the map up so I can have that for
I have
reference?
to switch over. I can do that.
Because I remember Tazian.
I thought it was Ursina.
Was
Ursina
it?
is, yep.
That's the one we came from.
Okay, so he would merely mention that Ursina's lost its allures. We had to find a news location, and my comrades here, looking at Yondis and Rena, while I wanted to head souths where certain events had taken place, thought it was best if we find a new homes for allies here's.
We're not exactly making the best kinds of waves for our cause.
It doesn't help when somebody splashes poisons on my friends, as well as myself.
Laszlo semi-interrupts you, like at the tail end of your saying that, when somebody splashes poisons on mine, like as you're saying the word friends, he interrupts you saying, to what end?
Ophios would merely look at Yondis to explain that situation, because Ophios never really knew why we were there, but he ended it by cutting the guy's head off. So he's looking to Yondis to explain.
Oh, why we went to the guy's house? Just looking for the biggest fish in the pond, and gonna make friends with them.
You went there to make friends? When I heard that you had killed him, I thought that was your intention. For a moment, I was going to applaud. I'm glad I
It was
held
mine's. Ophios kind of chimes in and kind of perks up as like, I killed Sims after he poisons them's. Lucky for me's, poisons don't affect me's. And he'd actually kind of stop in the middle of saying poisons don't affects me, and finishes his sentence realizing he might be giving away too much.
Yep. You say poison that affects me, that affects you or whatever. It's one of those things where you actually see that. What's her name?
Yeah.
Nightingale. Thank you, Gail.
Wow.
Nightingale. We say Gail,
Wow.
and that's not enough for me to trigger. So when you see Nightingale, her head kind of like tweaks a little bit when you say that. Like you see like she turns her head slightly. You know how like when a human, you get their attention, they just kind of like look at you like, what? You know? But instead it was almost like a dog thing where like the head like turns sideways, like listening a little bit better. So you pick that up, Ophios, because you're the one that's paranoid and about what yourself.
Yeah.
But
It
Laszlo
literally,
pushes on.
yeah, because it was literally one of those things, and I'm explaining Ophios' thought process because it's important for my brain.
Sure.
Is Ophios' thing is he's lately been in a more comfortable situation with Rena and Yondis. He's been more forthcoming, and this is the first place that kind of went ever since Ursina, where they had allies that kind of he assumed knew but didn't necessarily express it. So this is kind of a thing where he's like in the middle of saying it, realized, oh crap, these people probably don't know the truth about him, and this is probably something he needs to be better about hiding.
So before anyone can go off that, Giannis will cut in and say, look, I know there's 3 of us, but we're kind of against an army here, and the more the merrier. So I felt, soldiers in any capacity are better than none at all.
He nods, and you can see he was going to say something. He was going to like push through, but you kind of like interrupted before he started speaking and said that. And he actually looks at you and gives you like almost like an appreciative, judgmental look. He appreciates what you're saying, right? And so he says, indeed, there is an army to a degree here in Momley, but most importantly, there's an army that Momley controls that can be mobilized back here to the city. So whatever is done in the city needs to be done either discreetly or quickly, because that army is going to be mobilized if they have a reason to call for them. Any word sent in or out of the city needs to be listened to, perhaps intercepted. We don't have the structure, the network to do that yet. We need more people.
I think it's a little late for that already. We've been getting recognized just walking through the streets.
But these are morons. These are just average passers-by looking to make a buck. They're not going to turn attention to the Peredhel military yet. I mean, perhaps the cowards will, but all of them are going to try to take her for themselves. They want the reward. If they call in the military too soon, the military keeps it for themselves. I'm sorry, Rena, but you're valuable right now. And that is both putting you in danger and keeping you alive. And then Nightingale's actually going to speak up and say, valuable, yes, but not just because you're somebody whose demise or great harm would bring wealth to those that seek it, but also there are people that are finding solace in your arrival. The rumors about you are grand and ridiculous. There's no way that all of them can be true. But that
There's
doesn't matter.
a clear smile going on.
She's like,
Ophios'
they're all
face.
true.
Like,
I swear to God. I'm just kidding.
Ophios is just
Scouts on
Ophios
her.
is just smiling
Scouts on her.
at the fact
Yeah.
that Ophios is just merely there's a grin forming on his face, a giant grin forming on his face. Mainly because he feels very successful in that everything he has done is now on Rena.
How far has our news traveled? Is we talking the entirety of the nation or just these small cities?
Definitely all of Vala. Beyond that, I don't know. My ears don't hear quite that far. But again, as I was saying, it's more than just those that are looking to bring harm to you, those that are looking to preserve their way of life. There are a lot of people in this region. This region recently converted. I mean, we all know what happens and why... Anyways, it was recently converted, Brina. You know you came from Adlama. wasn't too many years ago that your own town was taking. There are a lot of people here that would like to see a transition of power into other hands. And so I imagine you're bringing both courage to some hearts, while fear and opportunity to others.
So, gaining an audience to rally those that side with us would be nice, while removing those that aren't.
But like I said beforehand, we need to do things either quietly or swiftly. If we're too loud or too slow, then it doesn't matter how many people stand behind us. When an army comes, they will march. And I'm sorry, my soldiers are damn good at what they do. What the fuck are 7 men gonna do against an army? So we need to make sure that we slow down that word being sent out or stop it entirely, and then sway the people. We can't just play to their hearts until we know that the coast is clear. Because if we allow some things to fester for too long, he says, looking pointedly at Rena, then no matter how good your intentions, how strong your will, how stiff your back, you will fall. And then he's gonna call over to somebody for like a med kit.
Very
I'll just kind
poetic.
of shake my head and say, then what do you suggest we do in terms of moving quickly and quietly?
Ophios is actually going to go ahead and sit down in one of the seats and just think.
Okay. So while he's kind of sitting there and thinking, Yondas, do you say anything, or am I going to continue?
He's just waiting.
Okay. He says, truth be told, here in Momley, they're rather pathetic. The commander that rules here is sad. We can go over the details of who does what, where, and when afterwards. They're not a genuine concern. The concern is the proximity of Momley to Zolgov. If you know exactly how close they are in miles, if you know how quickly a message can be passed between them, magically, hell, even by a man on foot, then it wouldn't take long for another region of Vala to have its army mobilized to come to the aid of Momley. So when we make this action, when we'll go over details as you just asked, when we make this action, we can't just swiftly take out Momley. We also have to be prepared to immediately, if not beforehand or simultaneously, take out the leadership of Zolgov.
Who do we plan on establishing in power then? It's just you and 7, and then us 3. It's not enough to rule a city.
There's more than that. That's all Ophios will say. There's more than that.
I don't think any of us here are intending on ruling a city. Yes, I am looking to stage a coup, and certainly there will be a bit of a grip that will be placed on this city as soon as we take over, but only until we, have things settled and well under our way. And then we can allow the appropriate persons to take power, whether it be you or me, her, him, that schmuck over there, or maybe one of the others that are willing to fight against the Peredhel. It could be anybody that leads from there. We're soldiers. We're looking to do a job.
Ophios will finally kind of come out of thinking, aside from his comment while he's looking off into the distance earlier, and just ask a simple question of, how are your supplies? Do you only have weapons for your group, or were there possibilities of training others and arming them so that we have a sort of militias?
I'm not here to train anymore. We're here to do a job.
I understand, but if there are followers that could add aid and add arms, there's potential there.
Absolutely. We find some loyalist scum that happens to have a blacksmith shop. We kill the son of a bitch. Then we take his supplies and throw them to those that are more on our side. Now you have a mob with steel.
What if I knew ways to get better equipments?
Then I'd be listening.
I have friends in this city that I recently discovered that deals in underworld trades of sorts. Ophios is being as vague as possible about the warehouse and his serpent friend, but he's just gonna say, I can get us mores. things that could be better used in subtle assassinations, like poison.
Definitely get my attention. Have a conversation with him. Find out what you can get, how long it would take to get here. Find out costs, anything else that you need to do. Give me some details. We'll work them out. Mix it all into the plan together. Then what's her name? Nightingale. I have to keep pulling it.
Come on.
Listen. At least I'm not calling her Jake. Okay. So Nightingale then speaks up and says, "Getting supplies certainly would be useful, but more than supplies, we need a network of information. I already have a few that like to whisper things to me, and there's a few more that are giving information that they don't necessarily intend to. But the sooner we gain the sway of some other people, mundane jobs that can listen, give us the information we need, things will work better. Now, granted, I'm here to help and to establish, and I'm looking to aid, because we all have the same idea in mind. But my services do come at a cost."
What's the cost?
Gold?
The information. I'm going to need you to find information for me in exchange for the information I find for you.
What kinds of informations are you
I
seeking?
don't know yet. But when I know, you'll know. And then we'll all know.
Ophios kind of pointed that poignantly when at the fact that he saw her tilt her head kind of curiously at what he had mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't expect necessarily that answer. What was kind of, I wanted to roll an insight on this check to see if that would be something she's of interest, or if she's showing any sign of that.
Sure. Nothing very specific. You know what I mean? Like, clearly she's somebody that likes to know stuff, and clearly she's good at keeping a bit of a poker face. But unfortunately, nothing kind of like, you don't pick anything up or anything specific about you. Definitely, off of her. She continues saying, "Right now, as I said, I have a bit of a network established here. Since Ursina's fall, information from the west has certainly quieted. I'm hoping that our friend from the west has been able to establish himself somewhere in Adir. At least we'll be able to get information from the south. But in the meanwhile..."
You talking about the Birdman?
I am. Yes.
I was gonna ask that. Okay.
He didn't pass, did he?
No.
Good.
He actually gave me. I still have the whistle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He actually gave me this. I'll hold it out to her. Like, I'll step forward to her and
Rena's like,
put it
"I
in
hold
her
it
hand.
out."
Here. Right. Take this.
Watching you realize that in real time was awesome.
I tried. I was quick.
No, it was good. It was good. So she takes it and she fiddles with it for a couple of seconds, maybe like 3 seconds. Then you see a look of recognition on her face. Oh. So he maintained friendly with you. Good. This will help. This will help you to speak to me as well. His birds, they fly my way as well. We're old friends.
I assumed you knew him.
Because I'm going to need information from the north. We have work to do here in Momley, but only so much. It's only so long before we need to listen to what's happening in Zolgov. I have a map over there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Shut up, Messi.
So we'll reach out to him then. And besides that, we're going to have to head into the city to start garnering those. Well,
Talking about
people.
Motley or Solgoth?
She means
No,
Momley.
I mean like into
Okay.
town.
Yeah.
Well, I think we need to. And then the guy kind of comes over with a medical kit, and he comes over and she's going to kind of guide you to sit. She says, and it's kind of guide you to sit, like start training you. There's much for us to discuss, and time is of the essence, as always seems to be the case in places like this. But we can wait a bit. You need a rest. Everybody here needs to have their head on their shoulders. You all got your asses kicked not too long ago. but you
We-
came out on top.
Yeah,
So-
we did just rest.
Yeah, you like one night of rest,
Okay.
but it's one of those.
Well,
Like
she's
in
talking
real life,
about-
if you got stabbed a few times, you wouldn't just need
Right, right.
Oh, you know.
Yeah.
Get your
One
scab.
night.
I get what you're saying.
I'm better.
Yeah.
Like Family Guy, you know.
It was just one of those. I wanted to make sure you didn't forget that we slept. Although I think Rena definitely needs more rest.
So he says we'll treat Rena. She can spend the night here. She'll be safe. The two of you are welcome to spend the night here as well, and moving forward if you would like. If you want to spend the time however you see fits, quietly moving about the town, finding any information you can, or just resting, maybe speaking to that friend of yours, whatever you can do. Be useful, be useless, because if you're useless, at least you'll be healthy.
Ophios is while mid thought, gestures for Laszlo that he'd like to talk with him.
Sure. Like
Just
privately?
kind of in person.
That's
Yeah.
perfect because I'm gonna do the same thing but with Nightingale.
Cool. So you're gonna kind of like as he kind of gives that finale, like let's all step away and let Rena have her moment. You can kind of like look at him, like gesture towards like, because then the curtains are still hanging on the stage. Just they're kind of tattered in areas. They're definitely old, dusty. Like if you hit it, dust off. It would be disgusting. Like yeah, I mean it's just, but there's still curtains like kind of hanging there and whatnot. And so you guys kind of like gesture towards backstage, and the two of you can easily make your way over there to have like a secluded conversation where nobody's really going to be able to hear you or see what you're talking about. Leaving you with Nightingale, do you just speak to her here openly in front of Rena, or do you just for her to go a different
No,
direction?
I would lean in and whisper,
Sex things.
I know you know me the least of the three, but if you wouldn't mind a word privately.
She actually she oh yes, and she'll like reach out for a second and like grab like the inner crook of your arm. Not like an old granny that needs help walking, but just so you can simply guide her. She's clearly capable of walking all on her own, no problems.
Yandis purposely walks her into a few chairs as she
Oh,
goes
geez.
along to
Oh,
make
sorry.
her hit her knees. Oh, sorry.
Yondis is a
Basically-
piece of shit.
I mean, he's testing to see if she's actually blind.
So
Flinch, I saw it.
just because Tyler said it first, we'll actually allow Tyler to have his little
That's
chat
good.
first, and then we'll go to Yondis afterwards, and then we'll go to Rena, who's going to have the most grand old time. Hey, Rena, just so you know, they do have painkillers if you want them. So Tyler, you kind of like gesture for him, and you give us like a nod, and he'll walk back there with you.
Before we get into the private quarters, he's just gonna openly be like, "You seems like a well-seasoned soldiers. You wear your armors well. Your weapon sits firmly in your hands. I can appreciate that. What battles have you been in?" This is just small talk until they get to the private quarters area.
Several.
Any of notes?
I can give you names, but you don't exactly seem like somebody who studied the lore of Tasian military tactics and strategies.
Knows, but in the last few months, I've known of some peoples and Tasians.
Gotcha. Well, sorry, you're from Talion. I said you're from Adlama Arena. Sorry. He
Yes, I
says-
am. Oh, well, I lived in Adlama. It's fine.
Yeah, you did technically. You worked there. So he says, the names of the battles don't particularly matter. What matters is they were losing. Each battle was another loss. More land lost, more lives lost. A different tactic needed to be taken. It needed to be had. And then I started winning.
Understands. And he would just kind of
I'm just kidding.
yeah. Once we get into the private quarters, then Ophios would kind of be more forthcoming. He would just kind of bring about, have you run into any leaders from Peredhel that seems to have unusual abilities? Seen any odd circumstances? Any things that have happened that you've been around?
He thinks for a moment. And then he shakes his head and says, some of them know magic, most of them don't. They're military men and women. They command. Nothing strange. You sound like you're about to talk ghost stories. This ain't the Barren Lands.
Not ghost stories. Facts of what I'm charged with and what I specialize in.
Listen, for the most part, these military folk, what they like to do is go in and be successful. Some of them wear a badge of honor to whatever degree that might be, and others are just fucking smart. But
Have you seen horses folded in onto each other's as they charge into battle?
I honestly don't even know what you're trying to describe.
You personally, or this is him in character? Sorry.
I know. That's my description.
Okay. I just want to make sure.
Those are my words. God.
Fairs. Was merely curious about that, but also curious about yous. What is it you're more asking about? You want to take out people, yet you don't want leadership. You're charged with leadership, and yet you don't want to train, having done that before.
Listen, I don't need a speech on who I command, how I command them, and so on. If I wanted that, I'd still be a Tasian.
I'm not speaking of that. I'm asking more.
I'm not here to train new soldiers.
Fairs.
I'm here to kill the Peredhel dogs. I want to deliver the biggest and best blow I possibly can, each and every day. Sometimes that's sitting back and preparing, and sometimes that's going at it with pure ferocity. Foaming at the mouth.
Bro?
Why does this sound like a weird TV commercial? Shazam, is that you?
Scott picked up exactly why I started laughing. Because I was just like, this is starting to sound oddly sexual right now.
I didn't mean to be, but since you started giggling, I was like, all right, let's keep going.
Laszlo's such a flirt. Oh my god.
It's going to be
sloppy. Want to give his largest and biggest blow every day that he can.
With such ferocity?
With as much ferocity.
The first part wasn't meant to be sexual, but then when she started giggling, I added the ferocity.
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah.
All right. My questions is, are there any tactics you're against?
He places a hand on your shoulder and says, you and I are going to work well together.
Suddenly Ophios has a conscience.
No, he's literally asking
opposite.
for the sake of this. Speaking of the person I happen to know in towns, only eyes will be able to communicate with him. He is a friend of mine and only trusts I.
Do you trust him?
He kind of hesitates for a second and just nods. He doesn't say necessarily yes or no. I know he will do a jobs, and he will do it well.
If he fucks up, he fucks up. That's on him. He betrays us, that's on you. Deal?
Fairs.
He'll actually shake your hand and say, we good?
Yeah. One last thing. I'd like to spar with you at some point. There's some different things I'd like to try.
First date.
You seem like a worthy soldiers, but wanted to see how you deal with my type of skills. It's my way of establishing trust. I have to know what you're capable of.
Roll an insight check.
Shitty roll.
He thinks for a moment and he says, you know what? You survive a fight or two. Prove that you can hold your own. And it's not just Rena doing all the work. Yeah, I'll give you a spar.
What are you suggesting? A spar with your soldiers?
No. Go kill some of them son of bitches out there.
Fair's enough. I've done my fair shares as is anyway, but...
And try to keep the blood off the floor. And he starts walking away.
Stains.
I hate that I rolled a terrible insight there.
That's okay. So he walks off. Honestly, it probably went pretty well. You miss it.
As far as bonding with a terrorist goes, at least they're on our side. Yeah. So I'm
Excuse
leading.
me. Excuse me. One man's terrorist is the other man's freedom fighter. Okay. So,
Okay.
God, it's a
Sure,
really
fair.
bad stance to take. That's not actually my stance. Just it's
Fair.
funny to say.
I've
but,
seen Star Wars. Yeah.
is that a
yeah.
line from Star Wars?
Just don't worry about it. So I'm leading Nightingale somewhere.
Yep.
Where out of the amphitheater mostly because I don't want people to listen in.
Yeah. No,
Yeah, to
honestly-
the bedroom. Oh, he's cheating on Rena already.
You can
Speaking of which,
imagine-
Rena, I want to know how Rena reacts when Giannis is walking out with this.
This lady's old and blind.
honestly,
Not old.
Honestly, Rena, you might notice that as they start walking off, she's not old. As you start walking off, he starts walking off. You probably notice it, and then you're about to get very distracted very soon. So you might forget shortly afterwards. So
Is she like the Dark Souls chick? Because that could make sense.
I don't get the reference. Send me
Oh.
a PNG.
Okay, I'm going to send it. Yeah, Messi
Actually,
gets it.
send me a GIF with like a sexy motion going on.
Yeah, the
that- is
Dark
that
Souls
all you
chick
want?
isn't like a.
I'm just kidding. So
She's like a nun,
so you walk off with her. I mean, let's say like second floor, or whatever. So you separate yourselves from the others. You know what I mean? And once you seem good. She doesn't say anything the entire walk. She's just silent and follows your lead.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll just kind of like as we're walking, just kind of break up the silence. He'll just be like, "Oh, careful!" Like when we're going over a step or whatever. Even though
She doesn't respond or say
Yeah.
thank you or anything. She just steps over the step normally. Maybe because you warned her. Maybe because she already was good at this.
it's not. I'm not expecting to be a hero here, leading a blind woman through her own home. But yeah, so I'm gonna
Home.
when we get to somewhere less amphitheater, he'll maybe sit her down somewhere if there's a place to do that.
Your lap, gotcha.
No. And then he'll say, "Look, I'll get right to it. I know you're a very successful business-oriented person who deals in information. I understand there's going to be a transaction when I ask this, but I need to know something."
Well, you have me listening. Good and far away from everybody else. I have a feeling it's going to be juicy.
I'm looking for my old thieves guild, one specific person.
When you say I'm looking for these skill, one specific person, she actually reaches up and she brushes her chin in a way that leads you to believe that unless she just happens to be brushing her chin randomly at this point, it's actually a thieves can't kind of like tell, like one of those like, oh, are you in?
How am I gonna respond? She can't see. He'll just like
if the immediate response is brushing your chin back, it looks super awkward and
Yeah.
Like I was in
He'll-
three people sitting there, one person brushes his chin, the other one brushes back. It's like
yeah, he'll
contagious
he'll
yawning.
acknowledge just by like when he sees that he'll just like nod and like sigh, just be like, oh yes, like, and then he'll go back to what he was saying. I'm looking for a particular Metahina by the name of Marquise.
Marquise. What do you know of this Metahina? Give me details.
She was my old mentor, probably high up in the chain. Definitely not at the top. She has something in mind that I need. Other than her name, most of the information was not personal.
What does she have? Be forthright. The more I know, the easier it is for me.
Is this part of the transaction? Do I have to answer this?
The more I know, the easier it is. I'm probably going to find out anyways if I find out who this is.
Now he's whispering. My family trades magic items, some in the underworld, and this particular one was a family heirloom of sorts. It's a crystal. It was cloudy pink. Not that you could see it anyway. I don't know what it did. but I want it back.
The rumors said that Rena, Queen of Snakes, and all the other titles traveled with two, likely male, and one of them was a blue blood. You are noble. Your step has a certain grace to it.
Yeah.
You're from Oslo, aren't you?
I believe.
They have capital
that-
there.
Yes.
Makes sense. You try to hide your accent, but it comes out when you're being sarcastic.
So all the time. Great.
I'll look for her. What's in it for me?
What do you want to know? I'm particularly good at finding things, typically by accident.
What do you think I'd want to know? Oh, shit! Chat.
What?
Ignore chat. Keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, don't look, don't look.
Don't look.
I'm not looking.
It's a trigger, Tyler.
I'm
Don't tell.
thinking about triggering Tyler, but I don't know if I will.
Do it.
I don't know what you're talking about. There's nothing there.
Right. Mhm.
There's no information I could possibly give.
No,
that was
you get
beautiful. Oh, Tyler, your abuse of power is approved.
Did he remove something? Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Oh. Here on twitch.tv/Daelric, we approve the abuse of power. Whether it be something as simple as purging all the words of bad advice from chat or selling 10,000 souls to get a couple of favors. We like it.
10,000.
Yeah, no less.
So
It's all right, I'll find
the,
another way.
the current rumor is that Rena's been pulling most of the work, right?
Yes.
I'd say the real one to look out for is Ophios.
She leans in slightly. His accent, I can't place.
It's actually a physical disability.
Roll a deception. Un segunda, por favor.
I mean,
You
it's
could
only,
use luck. You could
it's
still try and
only-
use luck.
It's only a half lie.
It really is only a half lie.
Hold on.
You gonna use luck at all, Yandis? I just want to see if we have any.
Yeah, I'm sure that's all it is.
No, I honestly do. I do want to know if we have any.
I think that's one mystery I will keep.
It's up to you if you want to. Okay.
I'm not. No, I'm going to take the 15.
Oh, shit. That didn't roll open for you guys. Funny enough, I rolled an insight check. I can actually clip it and share it. I rolled an insight check. I got exactly a 15. Sorry, I thought that was going to be open roll. But unfortunately for Nightingale, it wasn't an open roll. So I'm going to roll a daddy's dice. And I can clip it and share it. Yes! And a 1 gets me to a 16. And I have 1 left in my pool. So-
I think it requires a reroll. I will accept your daddy's dice though. Because if we roll incorrectly, we have to reroll. So
Yeah, but I'm also the
arguably,
DM. I don't have to open roll.
I think
I don't have to do that.
I think
I don't have to open roll.
I feel like when it comes to that, it's fair. You could potentially roll higher.
I mean, it's only a half lie, so why don't we,
There you go.
Take my daddy's dice back.
Why don't we double my score? Because it's only half of a lie. The other half's a truth. So
So my apologies. So she was inciting your it's a speech impediment. So she hears you say that and says, oh, sorry, he has a physical disability. She says, what's wrong with him?
his tongue's too big.
You say his tongue's too big?
His tongue's just too big. You're showing it to me. It's ridiculously long.
So the issue is the length of his tongue.
Look, is this really the information that you need?
Potentially, this is a unique family trait that could identify where he came from.
The story here is that most of the things that have been attributed to Rena have actually been done by Ophios.
I understand that he's the most dangerous one there, but dangerous how? What does he do?
Burned down a city. Wait, do I know that?
You don't know. You suspect. You
Yeah,
suspect, but you don't
could
know.
Say, I think he burnt out. You know.
You don't know for certain because I was disguised as the captain, but the guards were talking about a snake person at that time. You don't necessarily know he did it because what you heard was the captain did it.
But you had your suspicions.
He's What can I attribute to you that would be surprising?
No, please tell me what
That
the
I've seen you
Ophios-
do.
Magics would be kind of surprising. That's not a very common thing in this realm.
Come on, man.
I mean, without specific types of training, it's not like random people have magic. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's like very specific types of training for most people. I mean, there are exceptions, of course, like heroes. But even all of our heroes, for the most part, have. No, there's exceptions even amongst the heroes. Go ahead.
Teleportation.
I think I'm gonna drop something that might come back to haunt us.
Awesome, do it.
It's your call.
Do it.
He's been known to change faces, disguise himself as other people, do things that get attributed to other people.
The face that he wears now, is that his real face?
To him, probably.
I understand that. Do you think the voice is an act, or is it constant?
I don't want to sit here and theorize about someone I've spent months with fighting alongside.
How did you come across him?
In the woods. He was already with Rita, and I happened to have brought lunch.
All the sandwiches.
Yep. I happened to
remembered.
have brought lunch.
That's amazing. That was good.
The weird thing is actually is when I gifted him the food, he seems like a foreign concept to him, sharing, giving something that's yours away.
It seems the Rena is the one that will know more about him since she's known him longer. Did they seem like they were new to knowing one another, or that they had spent some time together?
How much information do I have to give until we're even?
It's up to you. Oh, you're saying that? You're asking that in game? I'm so sorry.
To her, yeah.
She smiles and says, "Do you think there's anything else I want to know?"
I think the rest you have to figure out on your own.
She nods. A metahina that worked for your family, trading in certain unique items, palm-sized and pink. I can work off of this. Yeah, this is enough information. Oh, one more thing. What's your family name?
I wish I could pronounce it.
I think it's Aletan or something like that.
It's
Yeah,
Aletlin. Yeah.
Oh, there's no that.
Yeah, there's
an
no vowel.
L? Oh.
Yeah.
And it's not silent?
No.
Aletan?
It literally translates to roughly
Roughly?
traders of magic. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Sandwich King.
That'd be awesome.
King of sandwiches.
Yeah, I really grew into the name as I got older.
What about Yonda Slay Boomer? What does that mean?
That's for you.
Oh, thanks, man. I use it a lot, so it makes sense.
Yeah,
So anyways, you you say the name, and she nods and stands up and says, "Thanks." Then she easily walks out of the room without your guidance and
Sure.
back down the stairs without your guidance, and leaves you sitting there wondering if maybe you said too much.
Yeah, Giannis is definitely leaning back with his arms folded, like thinking about the whole conversation over and over and over again, playing it out.
Why does it say we've been live for 3 hours more than we actually are? What is the mistake here?
I don't know.
Rena's host? Are you on Rena's channel?
No, what?
Yeah. Well, I rated. But...
No, that wouldn't do anything. There might be a miscommunication between Chatbot and Streamlabs, where one thinks we're on the West Coast and one thinks we're on the East Coast. So maybe I'm in Tyler's house right now.
Oh, creepy.
Not my house. I gotta go.
So anyways, Rena, back to you.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
it's
sure.
me.
Oh, finally,
still
I get a
here.
turn. Thanks,
Wow.
douche. Listen, the whole story is about you. Stop being so greedy.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
calm
I'm
down.
just joking.
I'm gonna be right back while she gets
I
stabbed.
did my hair, okay? Like, I deserve the attention.
No.
So anyways, yeah,
Only a little.
Hmm?
I said only a little.
Yeah. No, we know what happened. You realized that Doxy was joining the other campaign. You'll be like, I can't be the blonde. And so you had to, I get it. I
It's
get it.
not true.
Conformity is king. No, I get it.
Chat, it's not true.
Sure. No, I get it. It's Doxy competition. I feel that way every time I see Doxy too.
I've been thinking about bangs for the past month.
Wait, hold on. You spent a month thinking about bangs?
Yeah, bangs are not a decision you make overnight, okay?
I thought they were a decision you made when you sat down. No? Okay. I don't know. What was I saying? So so they like walk off, and then almost immediately after they walk off, they kind of like lift up your shirt a bit, to where the wound is, and the guy kind of goes in and pokes it. Like it's like a very rough, hard jab. Like
Ow! Just like, what did you think was gonna happen?
well, he pokes it, and it pusses a little bit and everything, and I don't know if you swing at him or just cuss, or what's your reaction?
Should probably just like yelp or something. I don't know. Just make a sound.
Yeah. So you like make a sound or whatever it is, and he goes, "Yep, that's infected. Hey, listen, this is gonna suck. I'm gonna bleed that out. I'm gonna shove some stuff inside of it to help fight against it, so you don't get all diseased. Because like if that disease gets worse, there's like a red line that'll start traveling, and it's only a short distance to your heart. Then you're dead. I mean, not right away. You'll be writhing in pain for a couple of days, and ain't nobody gonna save you there. You're dead. So unless you're a cleric, you do that worship stuff, you're dead. So it's gonna suck. Luckily for you, I got some roots. You want to chew on them, or are you gonna live up to your name? It's all right. I won't tell anybody if you chew. And he reaches over and he grabs the chew and he hands them to you. And Rena, you look at the chew. You can decide.
I mean, this isn't like the worst she's ever been hurt before, is it?
Yeah, you don't know if you've ever had a wounds get infected, and you're not in a good state. You know what I mean? It's like a gunshot while you have the flu. How much worse can it get?
I mean, she'll hold on to him, but expecting like, it's how bad can it really be? I'm already in so much pain.
He goes, yeah, no, I get that. And he places his fingers right on the wound and starts pressing on it, like causing the pus to like push out. And oh my God, it is fucking awful. Like it hurts way more than when you actually got stabbed, right? Like it is horrifying.
Yeah, all right, then she'll take the, would you call them roots or whatever?
Yeah, some like chew or whatever it is that's going to help to alleviate the pain or distract you or whatever it is.
Yeah, she'll take it.
Cool. You made your will save before, so you weren't compelled by any stretch to take the route. You 100% did this by choice. So we'll deal with more constitution saves and will saves of addiction afterwards. But for now, you're doing fine. You're doing fine, Rena. It's all good. So you take the roots, which is a good thing because honestly, they're not so much painkillers as they are psychedelics that kind of like distract you from the pain and the fact that it's like what is it, morphine?
It's one bad trip after the next. It's fine.
morphine.
You can't have a bad trip while you're getting stabbed. What are you talking about?
I guess you're right.
Wait, what is Naga saying? Something about being banned on the Twitch account? Is
Huh?
Naga banned? Naga's in chat. Why is he saying he's banned?
That
Oh,
was
no,
way earlier.
Oh, it just triggered on my phone. Like I just got the push notification ages later.
Oh,
So yeah, it's weird. So my apologies. I was like, he's here. So moving on. It's not that it actually is like a painkiller. It's like I think it's morphine. It's not like it's a painkiller. It's in that like it just is. It puts you in such an out of body experience with like all these crazy, almost like hallucinogenic dreams that you just don't care about what's happening to you physically. It's like a blocker in your mind, right? So you just start going like this down this path. Now it's going to be a rough procedure for you, but the question is, do you have a good or a bad morphine experience? We're gonna roll a D100. If you roll above 25, it's actually a good experience. If you roll below 25, it's a bad experience.
Oh, on D100.
And I know people that have had to have morphine for like a medical procedure, and it literally changed who they were as a person. Thank God.
I had morphine, and I had an adverse reaction. I hate it.
Yeah, like itchy burning.
Oh yeah,
adverse?
just itchy. Yep.
No, I know somebody that so he had a cyst. This is common for like people that work in restaurants. He had a cyst between his cheeks, like over by like that was about the size of like a very small apple, or like much bigger
Yeah.
than like, yeah, you know what I mean? Like it was nasty, and he had to have it squeezed out and removed, and like first the wick for a while, then removed.
Yep. Lance.
So
Yep.
yeah, it's all that fun stuff. So he had morphine done, and actually, apparently he had like almost like night terrors, so from what he was told, he screamed like at the top of his lungs the entire time as he was having these horrible dreams and whatnot. And it literally, again, like I knew him before he had the procedure. He was a different person. Like I worked for them another year after that. It wasn't an act. He was a different person. I was like, whoa, fuck, morphine's no joke. Luckily never had it. But anyways, so yeah, people like to do it for fun. I was thinking the guy from Riddick that did it in his eyeball. So 83, you actually have a decent experience. You rolled above 75. You actually have a pleasant experience in the morphine. It's almost like dreamlike and wonderful, and you have no adverse reaction whatsoever. And it's actually the next day you got to kind of wake up and, whew, this is not so bad. Roll me a Constitution save the next day.
Oh, great.
Does she have disadvantage still?
No.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no?
No. Sorry.
I thought I did.
No, sorry. Because it's the next day.
Oh.
I flash forward time for you.
Damn.
Do you want to take the 16 then? No, we always do reroll.
Yeah, reroll.
Yeah, it's fine.
Tyler, we have stuff to do yesterday, so
Yep.
you better get on that.
And we're going to take
What
a
do you-
break right after Rena decides whether or not she's going to use luck die.
I would.
I would.
I saved it for this.
Oh,
None there.
you know what it looks like, Rena? It looks like your character does have a bit of an itch. But maybe not the same one she thought she was going to get. Why don't we take a quick little break? Poor Rena.
What does that mean?
You have an addiction to drugs.
Cool.
Which ones?
That's what all the cool kids are doing. We'll be back. We'll be back.